it's the mechanics, it's the hardware, it's the firmware, it's the software, it's the mobile app, it's the server app, it's the voice. It's a lot of these things are going in different directions, and you have to guide them in order so that they match at a point in time. But a lot of the work that we have done has been about creating the infrastructure that enables this. So we have spent a lot of time doing this, but haven't had actually much to show. So right now, because we understand that this is also important for the investors to see, we are making an effort to making it visible. Because a lot of the things that we wanted to do is that it only comes visible once we manufacture the product. We are doing a lot of internal testing for specific things, but they're going in separate branches. So right now we are connecting it together, showcasing the product so that we can showcase the product. And a lot of it actually, it's very interesting, and it's beautiful to see how the functionality that you have imagined actually works once you see it in real life. So in our office, we have the system implemented. It alerts me every time somebody comes. We can arm it, disarm it. You can use a lot of the functionality that I think is really cool for recording and streaming videos outside, and to a lot of different people, sharing this to Facebook and a lot of these things. So yeah, this is really important. They want to see the product.
Right. So we have about 10 minutes. Let me look on this chart between funding, you just spoke about a bit, marketing, what's getting the message out offline and online, operations, how do you build the environment as your teams grew quickly, and you said you established these basic, simple tools, give everyone direction on how to use them, monitor, making sure it's efficient and effective. Is there anything else you'd like to say about any of these? This next one was finding the right team locally and globally. You'll go anywhere for anybody. You're on the plane, you'll go to Asia and find partners in manufacturing. That's where you have to be if you want low cost and highest value and existing capabilities that will enable you to scale. If you want to sell 1 million, you just say, I need 1 million.
Right, the partners are really important. We try to work with the best partners in the industry because we always try to attack the global market, be the best in what we do. So it's important to have partners that can support you, especially with the manufacturing, because there's a huge difference between Tier 1 manufacturer and Tier 3, especially with regards to quality and reliability to deliver the product in time and price.
Right.
And this is just one example of a partner that is really important.
And you're thinking about this up front.
We are thinking about this
later,
like year and a half since almost ever since we started to build the product. We have an engineer who's focused on manufacturability of the product, so that we actually don't come to manufacturing and see, oh, we didn't thought of that.
Right.
So that won't be a problem.
Right. So not simply the specifications, the added value on the components, the added value on the team, the added value on the partnerships, but scalability. If I don't want to sell 10 of these, I want to sell 10 million of these. Is this team and my structure going to be able to handle that?
Right.
Because otherwise I'm not going to give you $5 million, because I'm going to need you to make $1 billion before my 5 million.
Yeah. So among all of this, I mean, it's a huge project with all of these areas that you have to consider and always have on mind. But among these, you have to find a focus. So for me, as an entrepreneur and as a CEO, it's very important to shift my attention to areas where it's most needed. But for most of the folks in the company, their focus is very is very narrow for the specific thing that they're building. And I think that's the key, to have very narrow focus, but also have a people who can look around and make sure that everything is fitting together.
Mm-hmm. And this is where you described earlier that you find yourself, maybe in a coach position, but you'll jump in and be a player, and you'll do player coach, and you'll jump in and out of.
So we have every week we have we talk, the whole team talks all together. Has this sort of like Mark Zuckerberg stuff that he did. I really like this, so we did it in the company as well. That you can ask me any questions with regards to anything, and the whole field, the whole team gets to hear it. So when there is questions and things that people don't understand why we're doing, they always have the ability to ask.
Right.
So everybody's on the same page, even if the documents and the Slack isn't enough to get the information across. They always have the ability to.
So you're not in this place yet, but certainly what we'll find, and I think Eric Ries described this in his presentation to Google on the lean startup model, is that a startup company, Steve Blank said the same thing, is not a mature company. These are two different entities. So where Tomas describes what he is able to do and likes to do in the current environment, you'll find maybe you'll try to keep doing some of the things that you think are kind of representative of your core values and how you want the business to run, but there'll be a lot of pulling and tugging that might not necessarily allow you to do this in the future. Maybe so, maybe no. Remember I told you the Hey Nancy meetings when she came with a little bag at lunch? We had an executive who was this angel investor. Previously she was a global executive for IBM, and she would go to the different offices every day with a little bag lunch, and she'd sit in the conference room, and anybody could come in and ask her whatever they wanted to. And I found that it was one of the most fascinating, shocking things that my experience at IBM, that an executive would actually come amongst the people, you know. But this is so there's two examples. IBM, quite mature and established, but still trying to find a way to, you know, keep the connection
Some of the
and
startup
communication.
mentality.
Exactly. Do you have any? We have just a few minutes to go. Do you guys have any burning questions, Tomas? You have $5 million you'd like to loan him and his team?
We don't take loans.
I'm not a loan, I'm sorry. That's a good, very good point. It's not a loan, right? This is an investment. This is equity. I'm not going to write you a check with the interest payments, and I'm not going to write you a check to give you the money back. You're going to get the money back some other way in an exit. Hopefully an IPO or some Google comes along and says, Tomas, I really like your idea. Wouldn't that be nice? Larry gives you a call?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah.
Can I ask you when, I don't know if it was here or it said, but when are you planning to be in 5 years?
I'm sorry?
Where are you going to be in 5 years?
Actually, I'm just thinking about that right now as the final remark, you know.
Are you going to be, sell the company or the products with Google, whatever, one of the tech giants there, or?
So couple of things to say on that is that first, we are looking at what we do in terms of options. So there's a lot of areas that we believe will have certain value in the future, and we are introducing those options as part of our long-term strategy to investors. It's something in which they invest. And these options can materialize in time based on what we focus on. And where we are going to be in 3 or 5 years, it's really good questions. I don't know. I mean, we are building, if we can, we want to build, you know, the hybrid between Apple, Google, Amazon, all these companies that we really like. Of course, this is a very difficult thing to do, but it could happen, I think. But what is really important for us to also understand, a lot of people ask us this, if somebody like Google comes and they want to buy us, you know, everything has a price. What is important for me is not the company itself, not the product itself, but the team that has created it. And we can always, you know, with the expertise and experience that we have acquired, we can always build better things as long as we keep the team. So everything is for sale at a certain time when we have other opportunities to do, I think.
Good. Yeah. Others? Yes, sir.
It's like you have only like one product, like you offer, like it's not diversified, like you don't offer like more than that. That's like niche market.
You know, it's a very good point. We are not, as I said, we are not one product company, but at this time it's very complicated to make even one product, because imagine if you would have, it's a new sort of device. It's like, imagine you would have to build a MacBook from scratch. You know, it's really new type of computational device. It includes all these things, and they have to come together and work. So we have a roadmap of different devices that we want to build. That I can just tell you that there's some devices that add value in our ability to secure homes and ensure family safety within those homes. And there are also other devices where we can materialize some of the options that I've talked about, like voice control and cloud infrastructure. And they can materialize in products that could be, for example, a next new personal device. But this is it's on the roadmap. At the moment, we are focusing on finalize the product and deliver it to the customers.
If I can add something to that particular question. So, what's the size of this niche total addressable market?
In the United States?
Pick a segment. Pick the whole market. What should you pick?
So I'd actually choose United States.
Okay.
And that means that it's majority of the apartments and houses in the United States, which is around 300 million divided by 3, let's say. It could be about 50 million homes.
So it's a niche, right? That wouldn't be something.
I mean, the thing is that within that there is a niche. There is like the perfect fit for a product is for people who rent an apartment, and that's very specific niche within that 50 million, and that's what we will be focusing in our primary targeting. But something that I haven't had a chance to say is that our go-to-market strategy is such that we test the product with different target customers, and we try to optimize it for their specific way of using it. And within that, we find who is the most appropriate customers. And this one, the people who rent an apartment is one of those groups, and we believe personally it's going to be the best. And that is the niche. And from there, we can expand. Of course, you cannot try to address the whole market.
Right. So, but my point was towards. It's a big niche. Even if he knocks it down to just, nice guys between 25 and 27 years old that rent their apartment and have 2 buddies in it. It's still there's a big market opportunity. Now, to your point about diversification and risk mitigation, this is a big trade-off. If I'm going to be the absolute best at something I do in the market, I don't want to be distracted. Like if I'm, Messi, or I'm, Pele, or I'm Barry Bonds, I actually do one thing really friggin' well. And I do it so well, they pay me millions of dollars to do it. And by the way, I don't fish, I don't do karate, I don't do yoga, I could do some other things, and I could diversify my skills to kind of hedge my bet. But people who really swing for the fences, and by the way, this isn't for everybody, but they almost always focus their attention on a particular thing and want to be the absolute best and baddest ass at doing that. And so there's absolutely, it's unrefutable. Apple is a great example of this too. I mean, Apple has a very, very small product line. And you could say that they're silly because why don't they do like what Samsung does and make one of everything? But because it's just, they are so great at this that they have this huge market capitalization because the market respects that they're absolutely the best at doing it. And they're only holding, 10, 12% of the market in any particular market segment. So it's one of these things that you just have to choose what you're going to do and be the best at it. And be careful about diversification. Now, when they do give him $5 million and he's got a chunk of money that he might put in his own pocket as part of his own contribution, probably not out of the first $5 million, but maybe later when he actually can start taking a little bit of the money out of the company. Personally, he'll probably go take that money and put it in a mutual fund and diversify, but that's his personal investment. The business is very different. He has they're giving him $5 million, so he creates the best home autonomous security system in the market.
Right, exactly. Thanks for a great summary, and thanks for inviting me.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for being here. Really do appreciate it. Having the opportunity to speak with entrepreneurs. You guys have done some interviews with other entrepreneurs, and we find that all of you guys have kind of similar attributes, but nobody's the same.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's worth the while. Well, thanks, guys, for your attention, and we'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
Thanks. So I should go.
Hang out for a minute.
All right.
Oh, great. You sure you don't want that?